This episode of the Towing Life podcast is sponsored by Herb's Towing and Recovery. With over 65 years of experience, Herb's Towing is your go-to service provider for both the 401 and 417 highways. Fully plated and insured for Quebec and the United States, Herb's Towing should be your main contact for any cross-border trips. Some companies in Ontario don't want the headache of cross-border permits. Let Herb's Towing give you some peace of mind. With 2 convenient locations near the Quebec and US border, Herb's Towing will pick up or finish off any cross-border runs you have. Visit them at herbstowing.ca, that's Herbs towing.ca for more information.
Welcome to the Towing Life podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I am your host, Towman G, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the one chain wonder himself, Mr. Plain Guy.
What is going on, G? What is going on?
Oh, living the dream. You?
Another day, another dollar, somebody's dollar. Don't know where it went.
I had to step up my game because you always had that nice background, so I had to move out of my living room.
The room looks good. You still look the same.
Yeah, I know. Ugly is... I'm always ugly, but I can improve the background, so I'll eventually just make myself look a little bit better.
Oh, man. Guys, before we get started into today's show, and we do have a special show on tap for you, I always want to mention, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, things you want asked on the show, be sure to let us know. You can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com or by finding us on Facebook at the Towing Life Podcast. Send us a message through there. If you are watching on YouTube, comment below, and we will do our best to get to your questions and topics. So, that being said, on today's episode of the Towing Life Podcast, we are joined by a very special guest, an industry celebrity of sorts. This man is a third-generation tower, owner of one of the biggest rotators in Canada, has appeared on Heavy Rescue 401 from Cornwall, Ontario. Welcome, Andrew Vink of Herb's Towing. Welcome, Andrew, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Quite the pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. I'm liking, we were talking about views and backgrounds that G's got over there. I'm going to admit that fleet picture behind you looks pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do with half of that in that one picture.
It was quite the task just to get the trucks all there at once. So
I do remember that photo. I believe I do remember that. It looks like it's a nice sunny day down there in Cornwall.
Yep.
As we mentioned, you have appeared on Heavy Rescue 401, which has been, that show has taken off in popularity. It's guys like you and appearing on that show that forces every customer to ask me, have you seen that show about the 401? Yes, I've seen it.
Every day you get asked that. Oh, do you like it?
Sorry.
Yes.
Now,
how did you get started with it? How did you get wrapped up in it in the first place?
We had a freelance producer by the name of Lionel Goddard. Works out of Ottawa. Produced a lot of shows like Alaskan Bush Pilots. Been in touch with Discovery Channel. So he had the idea of maybe bringing Eastern Ontario in the mix of this Heavy Rescue 401 stuff. And we actually got a phone call. And to be honest with you, it's quite a weird phone call when you get somebody on the phone saying, hey, do you want to appear on the Discovery Channel episode of 401 Heavy Rescue 401? And like, yeah, is this like a scam or something? So
where do I send the iTunes gift cards to?
Yeah, exactly. So, we proceeded to an in-person meeting, and he told us what he wanted to achieve. And so happened we had 2 recs back to back from that meeting. They filmed that, and Discovery liked us, and we started being on board from there. And that's how pretty much like the beginning of the show was based in the GTA. So there wasn't a lot of companies either east or west of the GTA. So having somebody representing Eastern Ontario was quite the accomplishment, I would say. I know having Cornwall on the Discovery Channel was quite interesting. So that's how we started being on the show.
Yeah, it's pretty much you and Preferred Towing that are outside of the GTA, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. There's some companies that have grown since, like you've got Kingston that's on the show, Prescott, Algonquin that's just south of Cardinal, or sorry, north of Cardinal. So it expanded since, but yeah, I'd say the first few companies that actually expanded outside the GTA would be pretty much myself and Preferred.
Preferred, yeah. Did you happen to get yourself, speaking of Preferred, did you happen to get yourself the Colin bobblehead?
I've seen a few of those being shipped out. It's quite. I wouldn't see myself on a wall behind myself, but good for them. Yeah, did you get shipped to you?
Yeah.
Did you actually go out and buy one?
Yeah, no, I contacted them through Facebook and inquired to buy one, sent them the money transfer, and they shipped it to me.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's
Nice.
yeah, I had to get one. As soon as I seen it, I'm like, I'm always looking for little knickknacks and things for the background and that, and I'm like, you know what, that bobblehead, that's perfect. The good news is, if you ever get yourself your own bobblehead, you will save on material because it's about half as big as this one.
Shots fired. That was not even 2 minutes inside the show. Bang! Shots fired. I got to give it to Preferred though. Gary, Colin, Tammy, the whole crew, the whole family at Preferred have they're pretty much the frontier of the show. Like they're the go-to company of the show. They're the image they've been on news broadcasts. So if there was one company to make a wobblehead of the show of the characters, it would be Preferred. So good for them. And it all goes for the cause. It all goes for Tammy's
organization she runs, right? It's
exactly.
It's homing for less fortunate
for homeless. Exactly.
Yep.
Like women and people that don't have the fortune of calling somewhere home. So it's for a good cause. They're not pocketing the money, so good for them.
No, they always seem to be very active in any sort of community program they have going on, and it is nice to see. Okay, so I didn't realize that it was. I kind of had an idea, I guess, that they, it's a film guy who comes together, puts it together, sends it to Discovery. So Discovery wasn't the ones that came down. I know it's all done through independent companies, but it was a show that was pitched to them after the fact that they picked up.
They, so the producer and Lionel Goddard, so our main guy for Eastern Ontario are good friends. And the same guy that produces the show Heavy Rescue produced Highway Through Hell.
Okay.
And the discussion was, you really want to see what a Highway Through Hell is, go through the GTA. And so the idea was pitched. They got an improvement from the MTO. Things proceeded to filming with companies, and they quickly expanded to outside ventures, outside companies from the GTA. And yeah, they pretty much work independently. Like all these guys aren't employed from Discovery. They're pretty much all freelancers. So they're brokers. They got to have Rex to make their money. They're in the same boat, same boat as we are.
Yeah. They need the business to be there, or they're not going to make any money either, right?
Exactly. They need the white gold as much as we do.
So let me ask you then, with in today's world, especially with social media and what do they call them, armchair quarterbacks? Everyone that can watch something and do better than what they see. How do we the being on the show, how does that hurt or help the awareness for the industry? Do you think it does a decent job in making sure that it's protecting the image? Because in all fairness, you can find video footage everywhere of negative in the towing industry.
100%.
How do you find the show uses that to balance the amount of drama, but also keeping the image intact?
Okay, so let's first things first. Obviously, the Discovery Channel, they need a show that sells. That's where the drama comes in. Everybody's going to say, "Well, Mike Winch doesn't make that sound," and I don't see line snapping all the time. No, it's dramatically induced to make the show sell. I would say 100% has increased the awareness of what we do. I don't know for you guys, but I've been approached many times and people saying, I didn't know how much work you guys had to put in to do a tractor to roll over, or I didn't know how dangerous your job was with traffic on the 401 or any other road for that matter without traffic control. It has significantly increased the awareness of the job we do. A lot of people did not know what a toll was all about. And it's 100%. I'd say the downfall to that is the commercial side of it. These guys that we tow are sometimes multi-million-dollar companies, Transforce companies, guys with a lot of significant, a lot of majorly impactful that can significantly impact our business, I would say.
Okay.
So let's say let's use for Transforce, their own name.
Yeah.
If they see one of their trucks on the show, try to go to their door and knock for business. They're going to tell you, well, I really don't want my truck on that show.
Right.
So I rather use somebody that's not affiliated with Heavy Rescue 401. We had that issue at the beginning.
Really?
And but mind you, Discovery has been tremendously supportive in trying to mask the names on the doors, change the color schemes. Like we did jobs for big companies that are like the color of the truck itself would tell you 100% what the company was, and the truck was green instead of being, let's say, red on the show.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
they
really,
they do.
Yeah,
So,
I never thought of that a company, especially these massive companies that have these big fleets and see the show. I never would have thought of that they would have said, oh, I've got a truck that wrecked in that area. I know this company is on the show. I'd rather not use them. I never would have thought of that one.
And even like we've had like we got our own customer base, and you'd have customers roll over and the show where Lionel would get wind of it and come up the scene, and I would tell Lionel, keep me out of the loops. You deal with the customer, and if he gives you authorization to be here, by all means, we'll film together. But I don't want to get in the mix in between trying to vouch for Discovery or vouch for the customer. Now, if you guys can have a mutual understanding, he's not there to the company to look bad, but he's not also there to make me lose business. So he's got to have, and they're really, really good for that. So
that's good.
How does that work? Do they sit on standby with you?
Yeah, they do. Yep. So they come out of Ottawa, so they're an hour out. If we get a wreck that needs a lane closure, we call them up, or they get wind of OPP Twitter, and then they'll call us up and they'll make their way there. If it's a snowstorm, they'll actually sleep in Cornwall or stand by with us in the trucks around the shop.
Wow. Has that ever led to any delay problems? Meaning, you guys will still show up at scene and start the recovery regardless if they have shown up or not, right?
100%. So what we've done in the past, which let's say we show up, OPP calls us, disable live lane or jackknife blocking a few lanes. We'll get there. They're on their way. We'll start the recovery. They'll film what they get. And if it's enough to make a 30-second clip, then be it. If not, then it's the name of the game. And the only thing we'll see, a lot of people ask us, well, do you guys have to do things twice? The only thing that we actually might do twice is getting out or getting inside the truck. So let's say before leaving, he says everything's wrapped up. So, can you just jump out of the truck so I can get that arrival shot? But the rigging wise, pulling, there's none of that shit. If they lose a shot or miss a shot, too bad. It's the name of the game. We're not doing this shit twice.
No, absolutely, and that would just ruin more the integrity of the companies involved, right? It's
100%.
There's already been rumors, and I've heard people say that they rig it for the show, or they only hooked it that way because no. I've worked with you guys all personally, and I tell a lot of people whenever we do see the show that the character, even the personalities that you get, as extreme as some of them have been over the years, are exactly that person. That is not facade. Like you said, they add effects. They add, the forklift noise for the winch.
100%. It's like I said, if my winch and my DP winch sounded like that, it'd be in the shop getting dismantled because that's a sickening sound to hear when you're winching something. But no, as for redoing things twice, never. I'm not sure if they had success with other companies doing so, but for us, definitely it's no. My reputation is on the line. When we do quick clearance, I'm not in business to make a TV show. If we can do it while doing business, great. If not, then it is what it is.
So it sounds like a lot of serious stuff going on over there. But what's the funniest moment that you
bloopers.
Could be a cameraman falling over or one of you guys falling over? What's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you while filming?
Sometimes you forget you're being recorded because you're mic'd all the time. So, it's like they're not always in your face. So some guy, I remember I was doing this rec, and I've got this condition where when I get nervous, I got to take a shit.
Yeah, so, I do remember that.
So and God forbid I'm doing this on a podcast, but if I'm responding to no PP call, and I got this adrenaline flowing, and it just like that. Oh shit! I got to take a shit, and I don't even have time to make it to the bathroom. Sometimes I got to stop inside of 401, and if you see green patches, it's probably because I've stopped there before. So, or we're doing this show, we're doing this recovery, and I'm telling the guys, man, I don't know why. Every time I come to these wrecks, I gotta take a massive shit. And all this time, like this Lionel guy is laughing his ass off because he can hear me. I completely forget that I'm being recorded. Oh man, it's bloopers. Like mind you, like they've got a 30-pound camera on their shoulder, and they're only watching through that lens, so they don't have 100% awareness of what's around them. I've seen them tripped over skids, seen them tripped over. We'll put a sand block on the ground or a leg of a rotator. So that's,
They've had their fair share of falls.
They had their fair share of falls, and honestly, they become part of the family for 3-4 months out of the year. Like we work together. Like we do so many hours together in the winter. Like they're part of the team, so there's a good rapport, a good working relationship. So it's quite an adventure sometimes with these guys.
Well, do they send you the bloopers?
Yeah, well, no, the bloopers they don't. The only thing we get, I think they release a blooper reel once or twice before maybe a few seasons combined of all the companies, but we don't see the blooper reels. We will only see the the edited version that's going to be broadcast on TV. So we can filter it, and there's anything like, let's say, a guy's cutting a trailer off with a road saw and he's not wearing safety goggles or safety glasses. Like anything like that, or a guy smoking, or catch a guy taking a cigarette break.
Or a guy shitting on the side of the 401.
I've never been caught, so hopefully they don't have that on film.
We have audio, but no video.
Exactly. I make sure I stand behind the dash cam, always. So
you guys get final say to make sure there's nothing that could negatively impact the company.
100%. I to some extent, like I don't think they'll delete a whole episode because we're not okay with it, but they'll edit it to our liking. So it's a working relationship. If they don't have the support of the tours, they don't have a show. So
that's good. You don't have that here. You don't have final say on cutting out the shit section.
I know.
We called it the good, the bad, the ugly.
I'm kind of regretting my decision to.
Yeah, no, we don't give that kind of creative freedom under here. This is not a working relationship.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
Oh no, hey, you know what? It's the truth, and that's what we love talking about on the show. Is that it's just this is a bunch of towers sitting down and talking about things that we encounter. Some of them are embarrassing, some of them are funny, and some of them are just downright disgusting. But I was more worried when you talk about miking up and forgetting you're mic'd up, and I'm like, man, in a world of shutting people down, that could get bad. Not from us, but I've heard stories where they'd be working with a company, let's say company A, that's not one of their regulars. Company A would get a wreck in Eastern Ontario. They come down from Toronto. They say, you know what, for the hell of it, let's film with them. Yeah. And you'd hear these guys saying, holy fuck, are these fucking guys always in the way? Or I fucking hate being on camera. And these, like, the camera guys are listening to this shit, and they're like, no, just smile and wave. Like, I hope you fucking trip. No, but it's so... like, I wouldn't want to be put in their shoes, but no, we've treated them well. Like, we've tried to help them out in awareness where, what are the danger zones, what are the kill zones, what to look out for, what kind of rigging might seem hazardous to you. When you're trying to film with an operator, don't be in his line of sight, and try to put yourself in a position where if shit does go wrong, you're not getting a grade 100 hook in the back of the head. Yeah, the footage is important, but your safety at the end of the day, they have to have 100%. A general understanding of what to look out for. Don't walk over a winch line under load. 100%. That kind of stuff.
And we'll be doing mid-air recovery, and let's say we're doing a maneuver, mid-air roll, we're about to begin a maneuver. We'll always check. We'll always say, okay, where's Lionel? Where's Fabe? Where's Bobby? So we know where the camera guys are, where the sound guys are. And at least we know where everybody is. So we're not going to roll a truck on top of somebody setting up a GoPro, let's say, on the drive shaft.
Yeah. That would be a bad time. Once the rigging is done, please step away from the drive shaft. You do not need a GoPro there.
I got the shot.
Yeah. No, so that really brings us into, it's a big enough crew that is already on scene for a recovery, right? Depending on the recovery, whether there's unload involved, or if it's just operators, and a couple guys running chains, you've got a decent sized crew. Now you throw in the camera crew as well. How hard is that to manage that many people on the scene of an accident, right? It's hard enough with all the operators and all the craziness going on. Then you got the odd cop coming in to ask questions. You've got possible road crews. Like, what do you do to manage that scene?
Okay, so when it comes, as for the show, I don't manage the camera guys. I manage the sound guys. I manage these other guys that set up GoPros. I leave that to Lionel or whoever's running the scene on their behalf. What we'll do is we'll check where they are. We'll check, what if they're done doing their setup. So they're not being put in the line of danger. So when I coordinate a scene, I just make sure that they're not in harm's way. But then I just deal with my own guys. They got their own stuff to do, and we've learned with the years that what kind of shot they need, what kind of information they need, what kind of question they'll be asking. So I'll say the first year, it was quite the adventure because you'll be mid fucking taking the dry shaft off, prying this bastard off, and they'll be on the ground. Oh, Andrew, what are you doing down there? What the fuck do you think I'm doing? But,
I'm trying to get out of the goddamn ditch.
Exactly. No, it's just like I don't have time for this shit. But you got to understand and realize what they need. They'll ask you the questions, not because they don't fucking know what you're doing, because they need you to tell the answer so it can be used for the show. So you need to say, yeah, I'm taking the dry shaft off. So like working with them, you kind of understand what they're looking for, and again, like working, like we're almost going on 6th season now, so they understand how we work. We understand how they work, and we don't really step over each other's toes, to be honest with you.
No,
I guess that would be kind of difficult because you got to get it into your mindset that you're not talking to Buddy holding the camera. You're talking to a million people that are going to end up watching the show.
Yeah,
I think that's got a lot of difficulty added onto it, and I guess that adds more difficulty to the scene management, to your mentality of how to do everything, plus do your job on top of that.
And well, honestly, with you, like something like recording a major scene can get quite I wouldn't say stressful, but it can. There's a lot of shit going on. You're on the phone with MOE, on the phone with MTO, making sure you're timely recovered, your link loader is within your respective time allotted. You're dealing with let's say you see how we manage your contractors for road clearance. You're dealing with OPP. You might be dealing with the TTCI for recon. They need something moved or something specifically taken apart or taken care of. And sometimes they'll come to you and they'll say, can you say this on off? I'll just tell them, what, guys, I really don't have fucking time right now. Give me 10 minutes. I'll be right back. I got to take care of this shit first. So the scene always comes first. That's.
And I imagine they're pretty good, especially if it's an audio cut, unless they want to add the video to it. But, we hear those voiceovers with, showing a truck on the screen. All that stuff can be recorded. Obviously the authenticity is better when it's on the scene, as it's being said, but it can be added at any point.
100%. And so they'll try to grab the key points that can become something else. Like they'll use key points where they can feed off to another branch or feed off to a storyline. Or key points on a scene that can't be reproduced, and the rest of it can pretty much be edited.
So, talking about the scene management and how the show and the people out there, the cameramen, they're kind of, their own little bubble that take care of themselves. You guys obviously keep an eye out for them, make sure they don't put themselves in danger. But when it comes to that actual scene itself, I know yourself, you've gone out and purchased a lot of equipment to help with scene management. And it is not just equipment. Equipment doesn't solve the problem. Training, awareness, and everything for your guys. Why don't you tell us a bit about that? Like, what are you guys using on scene to make sure that work zone is identified properly? What can, do you have any tricks other companies can use or things that you think they should know when it comes to dealing with scene management like this?
Okay, so first thing, you're talking about equipment. Yeah, we invested in a lot in equipment, and not only tow trucks, but to deal with a heavy incident. The majority of the equipment you need is not tow trucks. To do a rollover, you might need one, maybe 2 or 3 heavy wreckers at the most. But you'll need forklifts, you'll need jiggers, you'll need load alls, or you need teleskids to go on tracks to be able to go pick up shit in the ditch, dumpsters, roll-off bins, trucks that can drill through fuel tanks and fuel transfers. There's a lot of things that go on a heavy recovery scene that is not only related to a heavy wrecker. A heavy wrecker is very it's a key point to the whole recovery process, but in overall,
it's one point.
It's one point. There's a lot of other points that take into effect when you come to coordinating a scene. No, I'm 8-9. I'm proud to say I was one of the first. I'm actually part of the first group in Canada to be 8-9 R certified. We were the first to take the course in the States when it was the actual first course ever given in the States. I've had Bill is now an 8-9 R. Took his course with Bruce and Jeff up in BC.
Oh, nice.
We invest in training. We've taken Book 7 training to be able to do short duration lane closures on 2-lane highways or single lane highways like Highway 34 and 138.
Yeah.
We've invested pickup trucks. Our pickup trucks have aero boards. Like they're popular in Quebec. They've just been approved by Book 7 in Ontario, actually.
Oh, have they? Nice.
So, yeah, they have. So you might see them a bit more in Ontario. So the aero boards you see on the SQ or they're very popular in Quebec, we've invested those. So all the pickup trucks have those aero boards. It kind of fucks up the look of the pickup truck, but it increases scene safety by a lot. No, not all the times you have access or give an example. We're doing a tractor trailer jackknife middle of winter. Quite in a blind curve. You can't get MTO out there to do a lane closure. They're all busy on the plows. Those pickup trucks, with the help of the OPP, can actually increase scene safety for traffic management by 3-4 folds.
Oh.
So.
Well, and that's good, and that's what you want, right? Visibility is important. I remember I was working a broken down vehicle. I believe it was with your father, and we had an aero truck set up behind me, and the drivers, because this goes to the level of how stupid people can actually be on the road, seen the aero truck, went into the left lane, and then came back in the right lane to go by me. He's in the truck. I'm standing on the side of the road. They move over for him and come back into the lane to whiz by me, and I was like, oh, man.
You can't make this shit up, man.
No.
You talked about Book 7, and when I went to college, we went over Book 7. A lot of people in the industry have no idea what Book 7 is or just don't worry about it. How did you go about getting Book 7 certified or training on that and see if it's can fit better in our industry as a whole?
As much as you guys know, the towing industry doesn't have a baseline for training. So pretty much it goes to the owner's discretion of how much training he wants to purchase or give the chance to his drivers to obtain. No, I don't think a lot of tours in Ontario have Book 7 training. It's not mandatory, but like in our instance, it's another tool in your toolbox. If you know how to do short duration closures, how to properly set up your cones, how to properly set up a buffer zone to make your scene that much safer, even though if you don't use it, knowledge is power. So let's say shit hits a fan, you get a truck rear-ended. Well, if that operator was Book 7 trained or a supervisor was Book 7 trained, that might stand up in court saying, we know what we're doing on these roads. We might not always have the support of the OPP. They might be busy. We don't have support of traffic control from the MTO. We do our own, and we went out there to get the training to make sure we do it properly. And that's where our business model stands. I don't shy from training, even if it's something I don't use quite often. It's a tool in your toolbox, and we use it quite often, actually.
And so you guys really seem to be an all-in-one idea is what you kind of have going, right? You've got, like I said, we talked about one of the key pieces is the heavy wrecker, but at the same time, it's not the be-all, end-all.
No.
A lot of companies will subcontract that work out to other people in the company. You guys have really tried to encompass it all to make it kind of a one-stop shop. You call Herbs, they're going to get there. They've got everything to get it done. I guess you're not relying on getting a dry box from another company that might not be available that day to do the offload. They're not, you know what I mean? Or, an environmental company to come pump the diesel out. You can handle that. You can train it. If, crash trucks, not necessarily crash trucks, but if certain lane restriction vehicles aren't available, you guys have the training, you guys have the equipment. It kind of removes all those variables. I'm
not saying by any means that our way is the right way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to especially the 401, where quick clearance is definitely a must. At 3 o'clock in the morning, where the hell are you going to get a Bobcat?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
This company's rolled over. It's got a reefer, but you can't get a hold of dispatch. The driver just lost his flip-flops. You can't get a hold of him either. Where do you get a reefer box?
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of shit that can save you a lot of time. And mind you, I mean, people say, well, no, I can't rent a Bobcat at Sunbelt or any other rental place for, quarter on the dollar. Yeah. Can you get it at 3 o'clock in the morning? No. Does it come with an operator? No. Well, those costs come with an added value. So, yeah, that's our I don't know, our mission statement or our model of business out there.
Call us, get it done.
Exactly.
We take pride is what's actually on your trucks, if I remember right.
We do take pride in what we do. We love this industry.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have shown that, and you guys have represented that well on the show and just in your day-to-days. Like I said, I've been around. I've seen, a bit of where you came from. You were definitely established well before then, but the growth you guys have put, the, success you've had has been refreshing to see. The Towing Life podcast wouldn't be possible without the help of our amazing sponsors.
Herb's Towing should be your go-to contact for all cross-border trips. With 2 convenient locations near the Quebec and U.S. border, Herb's Towing will pick up or finish any cross-border runs. With a large fleet of light and heavy-duty units, they are sure to meet all your towing needs.
So support those that support your favorite podcast and visit them at herbstowing.ca. That's HERBS towing.ca for more information. That being said, going back to, because we want to go back and forth with the show and with Heavy Rescue 401, I've been off the 401 for many years. I've been back recently on the 401, and I can tell you that the slow down, move over law is having an effect. It's having awareness. How do you feel that yourself, the company, and even the show do to help promote that? Because I haven't watched, honestly.
I don't think the company, honestly, okay. And there's this guy that posted a video saying, yeah, I know. This guy posted a video says, quite funny, you tend to watch TV shows that do not in line with things you have interest in, or stuff you don't have in your daily life. And it was the show Friends. It was kind of a joke, but it's true. And I don't watch the show personally. I don't watch Heavy Rescue 401, Highway Through Hell. I don't watch this stuff. It's all PVR'd at home. The kids watch it, but I don't. I don't have an interest in it. I know, how dramatically this guy can have a jackknife blocking 2 lanes. I know what the fuck he has to do to get that thing cleared. I don't know. It doesn't. So, I fucking lost where we were going with this question.
No, it's all good.
Slow down, move over awareness.
And what the show does to do it.
So I don't think we've had error boards since 2007. And since 2007, we had 1 truck got hit. Driver was okay. Was on a side road, but besides that, we've been quite lucky with our tally of experience. Those error boards have actually increased the move over. I'm not taking any credit by any means of our error boards has increased the move over ideology. I think the show and MTO has done a lot of it. OPP Twitter, move over for emergency vehicles and tow trucks. The fact that they always mind you, it's in the HTA, but they're still including tow trucks in their Twitter post. But the show has done a significant increase in awareness. Not people, everybody knew, we'd be taking drive shafts off or hooking up a car, and you'd have cars whizzing by 120 kilometers an hour. There's no other workplace that would allow that.
It made it more real for them through the show, right? The customer now understands what 100%. It feels like when a car whizzes by, because in the show, you're right there. You see it as it happens.
Would you imagine if the industry was unionized, how much shit,
Oh, it'd be unreal. It'd be unreal. The stuff that they expect us to do at times,
it's insane.
And all the respect to the officers and the MTO and all them. They're out there trying to do their job, they're equally responsible at times for what they're willing to give, whether it be space or whether it be, what I mean? They will fight you. They will give you what you need, but they will not give you an inch more for comfort. Right?
I agree with you. And every single region, it's weird. The OPP itself has different detachments, and every single detachment has their own ideology of what quick clearance is all about, or if they should close a 401 or not close it. We work on 2 different highways, 417 and 401. They're both king highways. One highway, same goddamn storm. We're 40 kilometers north of each other. Same goddamn storm. One, they will not leave a car in the single inch, regardless of how many inches of visibility you've got. That thing's coming out. 401 to leave it there for 3 days. They don't give a fuck. So it's and
It's weird that you can have two different things like that in 100 kilometers away from each other.
100%. So, no, for the move over, coming back to the move over, definitely, I think the show has done a lot of awareness. And no, if that's one of the good things that comes out of it, good, because we all need to come home at night, and people moving over is part of it.
I will be the first to tell you, I actually seen it for the first time the other day. I was on the side of a highway. I was doing a fuel delivery. And as I look over, there's a car that whizzes by. And as he does, I look over in lane, I think it's considered lane 1, right? Is how the whole thing works. Over in the left lane, and it's an OPP. And doesn't he pull him over 250 feet in front of me?
That feeling, man. You just...
I pumped my fist. I was stoked. Because I went back. Anytime I pull over on the highway, I normally have some video footage from the lane next to me. And I went back, and sure enough, you see it. The cop gave the guy all kinds of room, and he just came right by the door. And then popped right out. We seemed to, there you go, you're back, we're good. But yeah, watching him get pulled over, oh man, it's a great feeling.
We've had I don't know why, we've had maybe a few cops do this. We're doing a lane closure, so people are slowing down, obviously, because of restriction of traffic, not because they want to, because they think they'll be faster, they'll be in the ass and the other guy in front of them. But a lot of people take out their phone and film as they're driving by. So some of the officers have started to join in, just hide into the lane closure, and just look for that dumbass that's driving by with his phone up in his hand, and bang, he knocks him right down. And that feeling is like, God, I love this shit.
So talking about before how you're saying that the two highways have completely different policies on what can stay and what can't stay. I guess that would make it for a lot of different recoveries on the show of, okay, well, we can hold this one off for a couple days and we can come back and you can plan that. But some of the ones that you can't plan and can't get a camera crew out to, like your best recovery that you had to do that didn't make it onto the show. That's the point of my question is, what's the best recovery you've ever done that didn't make it onto the show for whatever reason? Even
not make it onto the show then at that point. What do you think is one of your favorite recoveries you've ever?
Personally, would be a recovery we did off a side road, kind of where 31, which leads into Bank Street up in Ottawa. Called in by OMPP Sergeant, tracked the trailer, had it rolled over on its roof completely upside down, and had collapsed the tractor portion to a point where they couldn't get the driver out. And we were called in to be able to lift the unit to facilitate the extrication because they couldn't get him out. And so we responded. Had one of my light duties show up, called me up, says, okay, this is exactly what we're dealing with. So I knew I had a mental picture of what to expect when I showed up. We worked with, the competition was there because ironically he's a volunteer firefighter. So we worked with them. Everybody was actually on the same page and there was no animosity. We just had one common goal, is to get this guy out alive. That scene was efficiently managed. We rigged, lifted the thing up. Fire department did their thing, got the guy out, left by ambulance, and this guy came back 2 days after walking and thanked us for saving his life. I remember him saying to us that he had that constant pressure on his chest because of the snow embankment. The cab filled up with snow and the seat actually collapsed flat. And he was laying on his stomach in the ground facing the snow. And he said, every single breath I took, I felt the pressure on my chest just getting overwhelming. And as soon as I felt that pressure lift, when you guys started lifting that truck, I knew that I was coming outside the woods, like I was going to survive. And that actually was the most gratifying recovery I've ever done to this day.
Wow.
I'll be the first one to say that is my least favorite recovery. And the reason is that recovery scared the living hell out of me. I was not mad.
Oh yeah, you were there for that one, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I was. Listening to him tell it again kind of gave me goosebumps again. Because I do remember it. And I'd like to correct you. The reason that the competition was there, he was not because he was a volunteer firefighter. It's because I called him because he was close to give us a better idea for equipment. I'm just throwing that out there.
You called them up?
I called them. Absolutely. I was on my way to it. And they didn't give us much details on what it was. They just said it was a vehicle. So knowing he was nearby and knowing his training and knowing the severity or the severity that the police were leading us to believe, I asked if he was nearby, if it's something him and I could do with two lighter trucks. Once we got there, obviously seen that wasn't possible. But then he was great to help coordinate with the fire department, being that he is a volunteer firefighter at the same time. So no, he did, Bill, I have no problem shouting it out, did phenomenal that day. but that one gave me goosebumps. I hated that recovery. I smoked a pack
You
of
did.
cigarettes after that.
To me, it was the most gratifying recovery. I don't know.
Yeah.
I work tremendously well under pressure. If you want to find my comfort zone, give me a lot of like a stressful situation, I calm the fuck down. I don't know. I work very well under pressure, so it's leading
As
up
long
to
as
the
you've already
scene.
had a shit that day, right?
Hey, you lead me to the punch. Exactly. There you go. So, I think the least favorite jobs, and like obviously these jobs they haven't filmed. In fatal jobs, they don't film as well.
Oh, okay.
I'll try not to get not too much in details for this one here, but we did one not too long this summer, and it was a triple fatal. Family was coming down, lost control. You guys want to get into this, or we?
We can, like I said, with all respect to the families and everything, it's a reality that I think operators that are listening know all too well, and anyone who isn't in the industry kind of gets an idea of vividly in our brains too how these things are, how these things affect us. So I got no problem with it.
Okay, so we get called by a sergeant. There's no rush. Triple fatal. Car had gone to the median, smoked a cement culvert, like a box culvert, and by doing so, rolled on its side, caught fire. The driver was trying to escape from the rear door because the only door they could access to was the bottom window on the driver's side, and they could crawl into the water from the ditch and then either crawl either way to eastbound or westbound. They couldn't get outside, like inside the median. They either had to crawl in the culvert to get out. So tragically, the driver died, the rear passenger died, and the third passenger got out, made his way to the westbound, to the eastbound culvert, so across the 401, like on his knees inside a box culvert to the other side, and tragically he passed away in hospital. But we got called. His vehicle's pretty much boxed into this box culvert. We had to get there, lift the vehicle up with the two bodies remaining inside, and then flip the vehicle over slightly so the coroner could obviously they passed away.
Yeah. And
so they took one body out, the front body, put it in the back, and then we brought the stuff back to our shop where an OPP flatbed picked it up for forensic work up in Ottawa. But it just, and we got to scene and the sergeant says, okay, well, take your flashlight, I want to show you. Rolled up the tarp, says, okay, we got body A, body B. We have possibility to believe there might be a kid involved. We haven't found a sign of a kid, but we got to treat this as there might be another body inside the vehicle that we can't find. So we got to be very delicate in our procedures. We had to lift this vehicle very delicately, rotate outside this box culvert, roll it over without any pieces flying over the place. And then, so it's the kind of shit we deal with that someone's broken down, when unlock, drunk drivers, but the fatal aspects of it, I've done my fair share, and it's quite. It's a side of the industry you don't talk about a lot.
No, you never encourage it on anybody. You hope you don't ever have to respond to those scenes. It is a reality of the job that we do. And a lot of people don't see it, and the show doesn't show gun it, things like that, which is probably good because the general public doesn't need the anxiety, depression, anything that we may fight with. They don't need to be exposed to the scenes that cause that, right? Car crashes, everyone wants to get their phone out and look. Trust me when I tell you, there's times you don't want to see what you're going to see. You're probably 100%. Better off putting the phone down, driving, and letting us deal with it, and letting us deal with the consequences.
And I think, honestly, one of the reasons why Hess Creek is one of my favorite jobs is because, for the amount of times we did a lot of jobs where bodies were involved. And, Hess Creek was the only one where the body came out alive. Yeah. All the other ones were extricated because we're deceased. So it's, you might get a goosebump, but it's a happy ending to
it. Is. It was a happy ending. Situation. I do remember seeing the guy there. The only thing he had was bandaged hands, if I remember correctly. And Correct. It's like, how you shouldn't even be here, let alone, walking around with his bandaged hands and for the most part in good spirits.
I think that might be one of the only days you were doing above a 7-day mark.
Above our rules. We won't mention that part, but absolutely. And that was within police's permission to expedite to the scene. I remember that was, I think I passed the ambulance that day. And I remember sitting on the highway going, can I pass him? Like, I can get there faster than him and they need me more than him. Because I'm pretty sure there's already paramedics on scene. It was a second responding unit. Like, if I can go faster, can I? And I finally did pass him. We didn't know what the rules and regulations were at the time. It was You know, as far as we were
But
concerned, there was the call we got, if I'm not mistaken, was a person is trapped in the vehicle, partially submerged as well, because he was near the bank of the water, and I think they originally said partially submerged. So hey, you're all hands on deck.
That's exactly what the call. The surgeon actually called me up right on my phone. I remember like it was yesterday. Comm center called and said, "We've got a rollover tractor trailer that needs your heavier rotator. The surgeon would like to call you directly. Can I get your phone number?" So gave him my cell phone number. Sergeant calls me up, says, "We need the big guy. This is what we're dealing with. I need you guys to get here as fast as possible." How fast can you get it? No, well, you know, without breaking the 105 rule. So no, it's so. Anyways, enough of that story.
It's absolutely enough of that story. I want to get into a little bit of fun before we do let you go. Obviously, having a fleet and company that big, you got things that you got to do. Having kids at home, everything else, you're a busy man. I want to hear about how you wanted to become a strawberry picker. I want to hear the story.
You wanted to leave this all behind, everything we've been talking about, all the joys, ups and downs, and you wanted to go pick strawberries.
It's either that or we talk about baseball games that we went to and the shenanigans that led up to and after that. So I think the strawberry picking story is much better.
Okay, so working to the family business. No, we don't only have tow trucks. We have a truck stop on the 417 that has a full licensed restaurant, gas bar, diesel mechanic, the whole 9 yards. So obviously, I grew up. Cornell wasn't big that back then. Cornell was just maybe a 1 or 2 truck operation. And so I was working at the C-store clerk. Maybe, I don't know, like 9, 10 years old. I actually never worked under my parents. I always worked under management. So a manager that was attributed to that division.
Yeah.
And the fucker fired me. So, everybody's saying that, you must be the son's boss. You must get special treatment. Yeah, no, fuck, I got fired. I got fired because, I deserved every single ounce of trouble it caused. But yeah, I was fucking around, fucking the dog, wasn't being productive, being paid $3 an hour when I was like 9 years old. Yeah, I was borderline child. I love you, Dad. But anyways, so this guy fires me. And I say, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not saying the family business. I'll do what any kid does on its own. I'll find myself a job. I'll make a living. I'll make this work. So 3 kilometers down the road from the truck stop, there's a berry farm. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go pick up a berry farm. I'm going to pick up strawberries. So I convinced one of my cousins to go strawberry picking with me. And man, we're going to make a killing because we're paid by the basket. I got this vendetta against herbs, and we're going to screw that place. Little did I know is I'm colorblind.
It's true.
I didn't know it had a significant impact on the amount of strawberries you picked. And mind you were paid by the basket. So I was picking a row, and my cousin was doing multiple baskets, picking the same fucking row behind me. See, so yeah, after like 3-4 days of work and just making, I don't know, $14, I said, screw that. I'm going to go back and
beg for my job.
Yeah, beg for my job and maybe not fuck around as much as what I used to. So yeah, the grass isn't always greener, and especially when you're colorblind, you might be better off taking garbage bags at a gas station.
Was it that like you couldn't see certain tints of it? Like, so it was only if it was like a perfectly red or whatever shade you would see it, but anything off of that you wouldn't really see?
Honestly, if I could tell you, I probably would have picked them up. I don't know how I missed them. I have no clue. All I know is my cousin was picking up baskets and baskets behind me in the same row. I'm like, man, I don't. So yeah.
Did your cousin stay working there?
Hey,
did your cousin stay working there? No.
Yeah, I know. He's a unionized plumber making a very good living today, and probably not because he picked strawberries in his young days.
Oh no, that is awesome. So let me ask you then one quick question before we do let you go. You said that on the show they'll change the truck colors. How do you know? I'm kidding.
Because it wasn't the same color
in your eyes.
In my eyes, okay?
Right.
You dick. So maybe the truck was yellow and I was seeing blue, and by the time we got on TV it was green, but I saw red. I don't fucking know. But yeah,
that is fair.
they're really good at masking shit.
What color are your trucks?
I really like this like army kind of camel green, so that's what I go for.
You actually have one of those trucks that's still that color, and I imagine it's still sitting in your yard. Beautiful truck.
Wow, they're all in the background right there. Yes, I like that green.
Oh man, well Andrew, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us, my man. This is awesome. Anytime.
Hope it wasn't too boring for you. It was quite the experience, and the pleasure was all mine, to be honest.
No, well now we got to end this show and we got to do this whole interview again in French.
Oh boy. Avec plaisir, mon ami.
And
that's where I say goodbye.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So anyways, I appreciate you guys. You will find, are you going to be on the next season of Heavy Rescue 401? Can we see you in season 7? I think it is.
Yes. So everything that's coming up this season, this winter, has been filmed last year. So it's a done deal. Discovery has approved another season. So they're going to film this winter again. So we're going to have a season in 2022 as well.
Nice.
So 22, 23 are going to be filmed. So yeah.
And do we have dates yet? Do we have dates for when this season's coming out?
I think it's always first or second week of January. That's what they've been aiming for usually. 4th or 5th of January. That's when it usually comes out.
And well, you can find them on the Discovery Channel. You can watch the Herbs trucks go by, those wonderful green trucks. You guys do a great job with merchandise. I believe there is the herbstowing.ca. Or is it herbs.ca? You can stop by. You guys have merchandise.
Correct.
Follow them on Facebook as well. Herbs Towing. They're easy to spot. They love to show off that big truck that his head has blocked most of the show if you're watching on the video side. So absolutely, man, it's been awesome sitting down with you, Andrew. I really appreciate you taking the time, my man.
Likewise. Thanks for the invite, guys. Really appreciate it.
So, G, take us out.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Towing Life podcast. I know I have. It's been great to sit down with our guest here, Andrew. And we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Take care. Cheers.